Hello thrill seekers, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're dimming the lights and diving headfirst into the shadows. We've scoured the darkest corners of the internet and old folklore to bring you 5 tales that are guaranteed to linger long after the video ends. So, lock your doors, check under your bed, and get comfortable. It's story time. Let's begin our countdown. Our first story, The Midnight Passenger, comes from an old truckers forum. A veteran driver named Al was making a late-night haul across a desolate stretch of highway in Nevada. It was just him, the hum of his engine, and the endless ribbon of asphalt under a moonless sky. Around 2 a.m., he saw a figure on the side of the road, thumb outstretched. Against his better judgment, Al pulled over. The man who climbed in was thin, pale, and dressed in clothes that seemed decades out of style. He didn't say where he was going, just down the road a piece. Al tried to make small talk, but the man only offered short, cryptic answers, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. After about 20 minutes of tense silence, the passenger suddenly pointed a long, bony finger. "Here," he whispered, his voice like dry leaves rustling. "This is my stop." Al looked out the window and saw nothing but empty desert. He slowed the truck, confused. "There's nothing here, pal," Al said, turning to face his passenger. But the seat was empty. The passenger door was still locked from the inside. Al slammed on the gas and didn't look back. The next morning, at a diner, he told the waitress what happened. Her face went pale. She told him that 50 years ago, to the day, a young man had died on that same stretch of road, trying to hitch a ride home. They say he still waits for a ride that will finally take him there. Coming in at number 4 is a tale known as the Whispering Walls. A young couple, Sarah and Tom, bought their dream home, a charming old Victorian house that needed a little love. They were thrilled, spending their weekends painting and renovating. But as they stripped away the old wallpaper in the master bedroom, they found strange, faint writing on the plaster beneath. It looked like a child's scrawl, repeating the same phrase over and over, "He's in the walls, let me out." They laughed it off as a creepy prank from previous owners. But then the whispers started. At night, they'd hear faint, muffled sounds like someone talking just on the other side of the wall. It sounded like a child, pleading. They searched the house, checked the vents, and even called an inspector, but they found nothing. One night, Tom was working late, and Sarah was alone. The whispering was louder than ever. "He's watching. Don't look." Terrified, Sarah huddled in the living room. Suddenly she heard a scratching sound from inside the bedroom wall. A slow, deliberate scratching. Tom came home to find Sarah on the couch, shaking, staring at the bedroom door. The next day, they hired a contractor to open up the wall. Behind the plaster and slats, they found a small, hollow space. Inside was a single, tiny child's shoe and a small, worn diary. The last entry, dated 1892, read, "Papa put me in the wall. He said I have to be quiet. He's always watching from the other side." They sold the house a week later. The new owners have never reported any strange noises. It seems whatever was in the walls finally got out. Our third story takes us deep into the Appalachian Mountains. It's called The Thing in the Woods. 4 friends went on a camping trip, hoping for a weekend of hiking and campfires. They ventured deep into a part of the forest their map marked as uncharted. The first night was peaceful, but on the second day they found strange symbols carved into the trees, unlike any trail markers they'd ever seen. That night, as they sat around the fire, they heard a sound from the darkness beyond the light. It wasn't an animal, it was a high-pitched chattering sound, almost like a distorted human laugh. They grabbed their flashlights and shone them into the trees, but saw nothing. The sound circled their campsite all night, getting closer, then fading away. They barely slept. The next morning, they found that their supplies had been ransacked, but nothing was taken. Instead, small, neatly arranged piles of stones and twigs were left in the center of their camp, forming the same symbols they saw on the trees. They decided to pack up and leave immediately. As they hiked out, they felt a constant, unnerving sense of being watched. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves sent a jolt of fear through them. One of them, a guy named Mike, swore he saw something moving in his peripheral vision, tall, impossibly thin, and moving between the trees with an unnatural speed. They didn't stop running until they reached their car. They never went back, and to this day, Mike has a recurring nightmare of that tall, thin figure standing at the edge of the woods, chattering and waiting. Now for our runner-up, a modern horror story called The Live Stream. A popular streamer who went by the name Nightcrawler specialized in exploring abandoned buildings late at night. For one stream, he chose an old, derelict asylum with a dark history. Thousands of viewers tuned in as he navigated the decaying halls, his flashlight cutting through the oppressive darkness. He was a pro, a skeptic, who loved to debunk ghost stories. He laughed at every creak and groan of the old building. In the asylum's basement, he found a room filled with old, rusted medical equipment. As he was describing a particularly gruesome-looking chair to his audience, one of his viewers typed in the chat, "Who's that standing behind you?" Nightcrawler laughed it off, assuming it was a troll, but more comments flooded in. "Turn around! He's right behind you." Annoyed, he spun around, shining his light into the empty corner. "See, guys, nothing," he said, rolling his eyes. But his chat exploded with terrified messages. They could see it, even if he couldn't. A tall, shadowy figure was standing right behind his shoulder on their screens. Nightcrawler's smile faded as he read the panicked comments. He felt a sudden, icy coldness on the back of his neck. His light began to flicker. He stammered, "Okay guys, this isn't funny." Then the stream cut out. Just blackness. His channel has been silent ever since. The VOD of that final stream was never archived. The only proof that remains are the screenshots taken by terrified viewers showing Nightcrawler's final panicked moments with the dark figure looming just behind him. And now, the story that takes our #1 spot. It's a simple, short tale that has chilled people for generations. It's called The Last Man on Earth. The last man on Earth sat alone in a room. It had been years since the event, years of absolute silence and solitude. He had traveled continents and found no one. He was utterly, completely alone in the world. He had spent the day scavenging, finding a can of beans and a dusty bottle of water, a small victory in a world of defeats. As night fell, he sat in his chair, the silence pressing in on him. He had grown used to it, but tonight it felt heavier, more final. He picked up a book, its pages yellowed and brittle, and tried to lose himself in the story. He read for an hour, the only sound the soft turning of the pages. The sun had long set, and the room was bathed in the soft glow of a single candle. He was just about to close the book and try to sleep when he heard it. A sound that was impossible, a sound he hadn't heard in a decade, a sound that made the blood freeze in his veins. There was a knock at the door. And on that note, we'll end our journey into the dark for tonight. Which story got under your skin the most? Let me know down in the comments. I read every single one. If you enjoyed these tales and want more spine-chilling content, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell so you never miss a new nightmare. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and whatever you do, don't look behind you.